Okay, so we're reading chapter 7. I'm going to start in section 2, which is a little bit before that. Section 2, the new way of being, 7 sacred agreements. Welcome to section 2, the new way of being. When I say being, it's not just about what you're doing or saying, but the attention and feeling you're holding when you're doing and saying it. It's about how you make people feel and what energy you're holding while walking through life and sending out into the world. Here begins the warrior level work of being the non-judgmental observer of the outcome of the way you have been being. This self-awareness and ownership over how you're being is what will finally create serious change and lasting connection. In this section, you're going to learn and understand the 7 sacred agreements of the new way of being that are going to move you through the blocks, stories, and beliefs that used to stop you from supporting yourself, reaching your goals, and being a part of a sisterhood. This is a new language and set of agreements between yourself and your tribe that will finally incite and allow real lasting connection. In this section, you will be implementing the new tribe format, going through each chapter on your own and then using it with your tribe at your scheduled meeting. The 7 sacred agreements of the new way of being. I think it's pretty obvious that we need a new girl code. Not only a new way of being and perceiving each other, but ourselves as well. These next 7 agreements are pertinent to your bliss and having a lasting bliss tribe because the extent of our dreams and relationships can't go beyond the ceiling of our mindset. You'll only go as far as you're willing to grow. These agreements will help you move through everything you will encounter individually and within your tribe. Remember, every relationship has unspoken agreements we adhere to when we decide to form any type of bond. We assume everyone holds the same agreements as we do, except due to the past events, beliefs, and upbringing, they never do. When something goes unbroken, it will eventually be broken, not maliciously, but because there's an unstated expectation and lack of clear communication. This ends up in false stories, hurt feelings, and distrust. We need a set of agreements that state from the beginning what you desire, expect, and need from the connection in order to make it last. And also a code of conduct for when times get tough, because honestly, they will. This is important because we may feel we are not bound by our tribe anymore. We can just leave and go back to a less complicated version of what wasn't working because it wasn't working, and that's just fine. But this is where your entire life gets stuck. This is where we keep settling for less. How you react and act in your tribe is how you act and react everywhere in your life. Stop settling for mediocre when you're the furthest thing from it. In order to have grounded, meaningful tribes of women, or any relationship for that matter, we are going to have to challenge the status quo of what we have learned through history about ourselves and each other. We are not just fighting for us, but for every single woman who has been stripped of her well-being, peace of mind, trust, self-worth, and power because of old beliefs. Women are evil, less than, competitive, needy, and can't be trusted. When we continue buying into these ideas, we continue to willfully give our power away. If you want better, brighter, more brilliant lives, friendships, and futures for our daughters and the world, it has to begin with you. Don't you dare look left or right. You are the one who will make the change. You are made from source energy, and your time to rise is now. I know you feel it. Your life will mean something. You will not die with your highest self trapped inside of you. Suit up, sister. We're headed into the arena together. I was raised to never hurt anyone's feelings, to be there for everyone, and to go out of my way to make everyone feel comfortable, even if that meant sacrificing my ideas, my desires, my personal time and opinions. It was all about making sure people liked me and that my reputation was pure and in good standing. Not so easy when you're a human. Many women I talked to were raised to be on the lookout for backstabbing women or to compare themselves or attack the enemy, aka any woman who has what you want. We've learned that if we want friends who love us, it's going to cost us our time, energy, peace of mind, health, identity, and possibly our pocketbook. If, like me, you thought you could buy people's affection, in a nutshell, this is going to hurt. It's time to let go of the archaic ideas and let your hearts take the wheel. They've known all along what's best. I know the thought of tribe and female relationships may be causing a panic attack at this very moment. I get it. The pain runs deep, thousands of years to be exact. You've been hurt, bored to tears, annoyed, bullied, or even tortured. But although it feels like you're protecting yourself or you're better off, you are missing out on a sisterhood that would enhance your life. Look, I can't promise that you won't get hurt again, but I will tell you that if you build enough like-minded tribes and follow this new code, you will be able to unlock an entirely new part of your soul that brings the fulfillment, richness, and perspective that you've been missing. You may even thank the fallouts for bringing you to an entirely new level, reaching or teaching you new lessons that you teaching you new teaching you lessons you will need moving forward. When I say sisterhood, you may picture a group of women dancing in dresses and with braided hair or braiding each other's hair. Full honesty, that would have scared the living bejesus out of me back in the day. And for many of you, that sounds like crap and a total waste of time. Maybe your tribe will look like that if you want it to. I know one of mine does. Or maybe it will be the ultimate conversation about business, life, and slaying your goals with fierce boundaries and refreshing honesty. Just like everything in life, it will be whatever you decide to create for yourself. I just urge you to stay open, dancing and all. I've got every type of tribe now because I am all of it. I will never have just one tribe with one set of ideas. I am multifaceted and my tribes need to reflect that. I don't want them to be all butterflies. I want them to challenge me to look at my beliefs, think bigger, love harder, and grow. That way, when you are in a different season of your life, you have tribes that hold that space for you and give you support and perspective. I'm feeling that old familiar feeling that comes right before a colossal breakthrough. I imagine it's how John Candy felt while sitting in front of the old 96er, the great outdoors, sweating about taking down the overwhelmingly massive steak. But like anything else, we are going to do this one bite at a time. Let me introduce you to your new girl code. No, I'm not going to tell you some editorial magazine crap about how rule number one is to not sleep with your best friend's ex, even though this is useful if you had to have if this even though this is useful if you had this happen to you or vice versa. Instead, think of Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements, 4 rules that help you lead an exceptional life and apply to anything, but specifically to women and to those building a tribe. These are your 7 guided principles you can always come back to when things feel like they are spinning out of control or challenges arise in your life or in your tribes. Throughout the next 7 chapters, we are going to dive into each one in detail. So this is the first agreement. Always be your own guru. Agreement number 1. So this is what our questions is about. And I'm going to grab my dog, Alfie, because he's wanting to be on my lap. So there's Alfie. There. So chapter 7, agreement 1, always be your own guru. And there I was in another self-development training. I had logged hundreds of hours at like events at this point, and despite knowing my soul's calling as a speaker and spiritual teacher, I still didn't feel ready to go out and teach this stuff on my own. We were 30 minutes submerged into a profound visualization where we were guided to our mind to a secret garden to meet a sage goddess who we could choose to represent Mother Earth, the divine, an angel, or a guide of some sort. We were told she held an ornate box that possessed the final gift that we needed to feel ready to step into our sanctified mission on the planet. We were to know that whatever we received in this box was our soul's way of signifying and gifting us everything we needed to move forward into our calling. My moment of truth was finally here. I knew that this was the missing puzzle piece in my journey, and exactly what I needed to finally be anointed, ready and worthy to step into my dream. Everything was going swimmingly. I was so consumed by the power of this visualization that I actually felt like I had directly connected with Source. It was my time to open my gift box. In my magic garden that I created next to a river, my sturdy grandfather tree In my feet in the most lush pillow soft green moss, I stand before my angel goddess with long liquid silver hair and white flowing garments. I lean in to open the ornately decorated box. I do this slowly because I want to savor and honor this moment for its significance. And suddenly, I lean in, ready to feel worthy and confident to begin my mission. I realize the box is empty. WTF? Okay, it's okay, Lori. Just close the box and try again. It's your visualization. You got this, I think to myself. So that's what I do. I close the box and reopen it for the next 5 minutes. Nothing, nada, big fat zilch. This is not delivering. This B word is not delivering. I need this gift. Come on, lady, give it to me. I can't reach my calling if I can't make anything show up in this box. Still empty. Look, I'm sorry I called you a B word. It's just that I've been at this for so long and I know that I'll feel ready for it. And I know that I'll feel ready if you could just show me what's in the darn box. After the visualization ended, we all shared as a group what we saw in our box and what we learned with the group. Everyone was raising their hand and sharing how they got something so spectacular that helped represent their gifts and the power they are meant to share, and now they're ready to take on the world. While I'm over here thinking, wow, I'm so happy for you guys. I'll just keep waiting for my empty big box while you go live your dreams. I refused to settle for an empty box and a visualization that didn't work. So I raised my hand to let him know something went wrong with my visualization. What do you do if your box is empty? My box was empty. Everything was great and felt amazing, and then my box was empty. This didn't work for me, I said. Everyone got exactly what they needed. Everyone got exactly what they needed, our facilitator replied with a grin. I was not satisfied with that idiotic answer, but I fake smiled and sat down, nodding my head with a confused look on my face, and started to think. I wanted someone to tell me what I needed. I wanted so badly for someone to anoint me, give me the answers, and tell me I'm ready. Later that day, I realized that the best gift I have ever gotten, the box full of nothing and the lack of answers, it was my perfect gift that I now see was precisely what I needed. I didn't need anything. I already had everything inside me. I finally understood after taking the time to get quiet that no amount of courses, books, education, or validation from others was going to make me feel ready to share my gifts until I believed I could trust myself and that I was enough no matter what anyone else does or says. We anoint ourselves when we take the first step with the fear and doubt. Holy crap, this really works. I'm ready. I was in tears. I felt this in such a deep soul level that I had a glimpse of my unshakable and totally accessible faith. We always know, even when we feel we don't. We're just listening to the noise of other people's fears, looking in all the wrong places, and not slowing down long enough to tune into what our voice and feelings are trying to tell us. What I want to make clear is that I believe in whatever type of guide helps you on your path. You are vital to learn from and gain knowledge. I have had more guidance and mentors than I can count and still do. I have a carved wooden statue of Oprah whom I ask for guidance every day. Just kidding, but don't put it past me. There's a difference between taking everything they say for gospel, never making a decision without them, and asking for guidance, then making sure you give yourself some time to check in and see if it feels aligned before making any big decisions. After all, these are humans who are just doing their best they can do from their own experiences, and they aren't perfect as well. The main reasons we give all our power and decision making over to a coach, our parents, our partner, teachers, friends, you name it, is because we aren't ready to take full ownership of our choices and the current reality they created. It's easier to blame someone else who told you what to do than to own the responsibility of your actions and your situation. Ultimately, relying on your intuition and ability to feel what's right for you will sharpen the more you use it. Wayne Dyer says, when you trust in yourself, you trust in the very wisdom that created you. If you're looking for a guide besides yourself, use the one who refers you back to you. and leads you to your own answers. They will ask the right questions that empower you to use your own voice. They will celebrate a choice that feels right for you, even if it's opposite of theirs. And they will always remind you to come back to love and check in with your inner guide. In the beginning, teachers and coaches are a huge help, especially if you can't hear that voice yet. One thing you can do to really use them effectively is check in with how you feel after you read, meet, or chat with one of them. Do you feel uplifted or like your highest intentions are being looked after? Do you leave with good feelings around people in your life, or do you feel heavy, gross, or like you need a shower? Do you feel you can disagree freely and ask questions? I've learned no matter how right or wrong a life or business decision goes, I am the only one who can create my bliss, find my lesson, and choose my blessing in all of it. With that said, I know my teachers are human and I release them from being perfect. I choose what advice and teachings work in my life, and I leave what isn't a fit behind. Eat the fruit, spit out the seeds, as they say. It's all one big outlet store where we're digging through racks of clothing, looking for outfits that fit the current trends, our needs, and mood. Don't get too attached either. You will be throwing some of that stuff out once it's served its purpose. That's just how it works. You're evolving and your beliefs will evolve as well. So these are the questions that I sent out in our workbook. So the first question is, can you think of a time when you were mad at yourself because you took someone else's advice and you didn't like the outcome? Why didn't you trust yourself? So I want you to think about a time when someone gave you advice and instantly you felt like, something doesn't feel right with this advice, but you took the advice anyway and did the thing, and it didn't work out to your benefit. So I want you to think about that and answer the questions based on that memory. So for me, when I think about that, I think about the time when I had to choose my major for college. And I went to my dad and I said, Dad, what should I do for college? Because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And he said that I should choose business because I'll always have a job. He said, if you choose your major as business, you'll always have a job. So I said, okay. So I chose business as my major for college. So I go to college and I start taking the classes for business. And I realized quickly that I am not interested in any of these business classes. I hated calculus. In fact, I failed it. I couldn't even get through economics. That was hard for me. Couldn't even get through it. Kaylana, mommy's on a call right now. Hi. Okay, mommy's on a call right now. I couldn't get through economics, and I was like, okay, I need to change my major, but I don't want to let my dad down because he said I should take business because I'll always have a job, but I don't like any of these classes. So I stayed in the classes, even though I knew I didn't like them and I wasn't motivated to do any of the work. And what happened eventually is that I got kicked out of college. They kicked me out for my bad grades. And that was devastating to me. That was a huge blow to my self-esteem, but it was my fault. I let it happen. What I should have done was I should have listened to my gut feelings and gone and changed my major to psychology, which is what I eventually did years later. I did go back to college and I did finish my degree in psychology and graduated with my bachelor's of science degree in psychology. But it took me failing. It took me falling on my behind. It took me getting kicked out of college, out of a university, and not graduating with all my friends for me to realize that I should have trusted my first gut reaction and changed my major before I failed those classes. I should have just dropped out as soon as I didn't like the class, changed my major, and just had a fresh start. But because I felt loyal to my dad and didn't want to let him down and kind of wanted to follow his footsteps, it was a huge mistake. And I paid dearly for it. I mean, college is expensive and I was paying for it by myself. And that was a big waste of money and a big blow to my self-esteem. But it's a lesson I had to learn. So now I know that when I have those feelings like, this isn't working out for me, I should find another way, then I need to trust that feeling of finding another way. So think about a time when you were given advice to do something and you did the advice and didn't work out for you, then answer these questions. Why didn't you trust yourself? What were the feelings that showed up when you went against your better judgment? What did this experience teach you? And when situations like this come up again, what will you do and how will you give yourself time and space to make sure you feel more aligned with these choices you'll be making? So now to answer that last question, now when I am confronted with two paths to take, I try to rely on my gut feeling, that intuition, that feeling of excitement, and try to go there. So for example, when I joined pharmacy, before I joined pharmacy, I was with another direct sales company. And I liked the products that we had, especially the lip glosses. They were really beautiful lip glosses and lipsticks. But I felt like we just didn't have enough products on hand to be a strong business. And so when I was introduced to pharmacy, I was like, oh, I like their products. Oh, their products are more affordable. And I had only been with this previous company for just a short time. I think, let's see.
4 years?
No, like maybe two months or 3 months. I'd only been with them just a short time.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh man, if I leave this previous company and start over again, I know people are going to think that I'm not stable, or I just joined go from company to company to company, and they're not going to trust me. They're just going to think I'm flighty. They're going to be like, there she goes again, trying to make it rich. But even though I felt those fears, and even though a lot of people did probably think that about me, I still trusted that excitement. I still trusted that gut feeling to join pharmacy. And I'm so glad I did, because 4 months later, after I joined pharmacy, I became a director, which was one of my goals, to become a director in a direct sales company. For 10 years, I'd wanted that goal. And that finally happened when I joined pharmacy. So always trust your gut feeling. Always trust that intuition that's calling you to be greater. Trust that intuition that scares you a little bit, that causes you to think like, I want to do this, but instantly I'm scared if I do this thing. I want to do this thing, but it scares me. Usually when that happens, it's because that thing is going to cause change for your benefit. It's going to cause growth, and growth is good. Growth is scary and it's hard, but it's good. So, did you have any thoughts, Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah?
I agree with everything that you said. But I can't think of a personal tie for that question like you had.
Okay, well, just take some time to kind of think about it in the back of your mind, and something will pop up. I bet something will pop up eventually. And if you want to talk to me about it one-on-one, we can talk about it one-on-one in the chat. Okay.
Okay.
But thank you for coming and spending time with me. Here, I'm going to stop recording.